the first meeting, I think, where we've ever had popcorn.
Oh.
So that's very exciting. Maybe meetings where it has been needed, right? But this is great. So yeah, so glad we're in this space. Right, exciting.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Hannah brought her baby. I believe so, yeah.
Thank you so much. Some popcorn, baby.
We also
All
have
that.
that sorted out relatively.
Thank you.
I know there's so
Right.
often.
Oh, was this the yes.
So when we do. Okay, I really appreciate that, actually. Okay, I'll check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it.
All good. All good.
All right, I'm fully committing to readers for this meeting. It's all happening.
So, Eric, did you see my idiotic mistake yesterday?
I passed it.
Okay.
It was not idiotic, Representative.
No,
There
it
are no idiotic.
Oh, no. When you serve on CAAPB board and you serve on Governor's Residence Council, and both leads have Jesse, one is Hughes, one is Held, it's like, I sent it to the wrong Jesse. That was an idiotic note.
I mean, there's only one Jesse Held,
She's over here.
right? You know that. She's over here. That's right. Okay, well, we've got a lot to get through. So, welcome everyone. Let's start the meeting. Thank you so much for joining us today at Capitol Commons, the hub for vitality programs that we'll hear about later in the meeting. But we've got two public hearings in today's meeting for site selection for commemorative work. So if you would like to comment on these items, please sign up on the sign-up sheet. CAAPB board staff can direct you to that sign-up sheet. I wanted to take time before we start to also just thank our retiring legislators for their service to the state of Minnesota and to the Capital Area Architectural and Planning Board. Thank you to Senator Nelson for serving for more than 6,300 days in legislative service, and for your service to the CAAPB board. We're so grateful for you. Let's give Senator Nelson a round of applause. And then also wanted to take time to thank another long-serving member of the CAAPB board. Thank you, Senator Pappas, for 42 years of legislative service and for your service to the CAAPB board. All Minnesotans are thankful for your service and your commitment to the capital area, and as a recovering legislator and Lieutenant Governor, also just want to thank you for all of your incredible work over the years on bonding. So thank you so much, Senator Pappas, for your service as well. All right, so we're gonna dive in here and start with our roll call. So first, I've got Dr. Kate Bean.
Present.
Michael Bjornberg.
Present.
Hannah Hills.
Present.
James McLean.
Here.
Melanie McMahon.
Here.
Representative Cleaborn.
Here.
Representative Schultz. Senator Nelson.
Present.
Senator Pappas.
James Garrett joined us late, so he was off there, so we'll have to ask.
Perfect. James Garrett Jr.
Present.
Wonderful. And I am also here. So we've got a quorum. First on the agenda is the approval of today's agenda. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda? Oh my gosh, Ellen.
Sorry, no.
Also here.
And now I'm extra embarrassed because Ellen was on our team for a very long time, and so we are so grateful that you are now bringing your expertise here. So grateful to have you, and yes, at every CAAPB board meeting, my expectation is that you now wear large earrings. Good. Well, wonderful, good, excellent. Okay, is there a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? A second. We have the first and second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, excellent. So first on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 3rd, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second.
Excellent. We have a first and second to approve the minutes from, I'm sorry, hold on. Notes here. Today's, from October 3rd. So I'm going to do that again. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from October 3rd, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 3rd, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second.
Wonderful. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Excellent. So the second item on the agenda is an introduction of the new Sears owner, the Rondo Community Land Trust. Welcome, and please introduce yourself. I'm going to hand this over to the Executive Secretary to lead us through this section.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, Rondo Land Trust. We have Makia and Fatima. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi, I'm Makia Griffin. I'm the President and CEO of Rondo Community Land Trust. I'm really excited to be here today to talk with all of you. We have some visual images about what we believe that this wonderful site can turn into. Just a little bit about background. The Rondo Community Land Trust has exhibited 30 plus years of experience in development, land stewardship, really started in affordable housing, we still do that, and really moving to a big community-rooted development and district scale work. The Sears site really represents a few things. One, we just purchased it, yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. It represents a deep-rooted commitment to the Rondo community itself. I am almost a 4th-generation Rondo daughter, and so this land holds historical significance for the Rondo community, and so we're going to hold legacy for the community, but we are also understanding that this is an opportunity for community and economic opportunity to meet. We believe that the Sears site and our world will be a very vibrant mixed-use development. Where housing and commercial, hospitality and transit, sustainable green infrastructure with our sustainable utilities, green infrastructure and smart systems, public realm and civic space. We are in the pre-planning and master planning phase right now. We are working with, speaking and connecting with and continue to build relationships with the community members that we have, and ensuring that all the stakeholders are aware and understanding about what where we're moving to and the work that we're doing. I know we only have a few minutes because you guys have a very robust agenda, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'll let Fatima also introduce herself.
Yes.
I forgot about
No,
you.
it's fine. Fatima Moore, and I am Rondo Community Land Trust Chief of Staff as well as lobbyist, and so we'll be able to share more information with you. As Makia said, we're in the pre-planning, master planning process. There's a lot of interest and intrigue. I think another thing that's really important for Rondo, and we know for the legislature and the CAAPB board, is that we want to get the Sears site back on the tax roll.
We do.
Right, and so there's a lot of engagement and opportunity to do exactly that, while also righting the harms that was done when the community was essentially torn apart by the Sears site. And we know that we are excited to do that in tandem with you all as well, and so looking forward to coming back with some additional information.
Alright. So, I just on a personal note, just wanted to say how excited I am. I know that this has been a site and part of the work of the CAAPB board for a very long time, and so while it might not look exactly like this in this rendering, I just am really hopeful for what's possible. Just as you begin this journey on this site and working to heal and repair what has been broken, I just wish you personally all the best of luck.
Thank you.
So excited for this.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate the time. This will not be the last time that you're going to see our faces. We'll be back again. Like I said, this is really for me, a very emotional journey. To be able to bring back and steward something that really was taken from the community, and then to be able to be a partner with the state and the CAAPB board as we're working through this. We are very well aligned with your framework, and so this is very exciting, I think, for all of us. So thank you again. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Rondo Community Land Trust. We are here to answer them. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We don't always clap after people are letting you, right? Yeah, that's right. I love it. Yep, so thank you so much for that. And now for our third and fourth item here, we've got several items focused on commemorative works on the Capitol Mall that will be presented by our fellow Ella Kuhn. So please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we are speaking with you today regarding 2 new commemorative works applications. Specifically, we are requesting board authorization to open a 30-day public comment period and hold a public hearing on these 2 new commemorative work applications. In the interest of time, we have grouped these 2 agenda items together as both applications follow a similar process and are paired with a similar resolution. Both applications affect the Court of Honor, and both are also supported by bills ratified by the Minnesota State Legislature. The authorizing legislation can be found on page 24 and page 42 of your board packet. The board, however, will be given the opportunity to vote on each resolution independently. The first application is a request to add a new plaque at the Court of Honor to commemorate Minnesota's Gold Star and Blue Star families. Gold Star families are those who lost an immediate family member in the line of duty during military service. Blue Star families are families that actively have an immediate family member serving in the U.S. military during wartime. We received the application from Cole Trace, Legislative Liaison at the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs, on October 7, 2026. Staff found the application complete 3 days later on October 10th. Up to $10,000 of the plaque's design, casting, and installation will be paid for by the MDVA, after which the department will partner with other organizations to raise any additional funds required. Next slide, please. The second application we are bringing before the board in this regard is an application to modify the language of the World War I plaque at the Court of Honor. The modification seeks to make the plaque's language more inclusive of military service personnel who trained for but never saw combat. We received the second application from Michael Maxa, adjunct at the American Legion, on April 1st, 2026, and staff found the application complete on April 9th. The modified plaque will be paid for by the American Legion and a bid on process. So the CAAPB Board Administrative Rules for Commemorative Works, or MR 2400-2703, require addition and modification requests to meet certain conditions before an application is brought before the board for consideration. Under subpart 2 of the board's rules on commemorative work, addition requests must demonstrate documented public support for the application, the work's lasting statewide significance, respect for Minnesotans' diversity, and a discussion of how viewing the proposed artwork would provide an experience to visitors of the Capitol Mall, which would broaden their understanding of Minnesota's shared history, heritage, and culture. It is staff's opinion that Mr. Trace's application meets these 4 criteria. Not only would the work provide an opportunity for visitors to the Capitol Mall to learn more about the Gold Star program overseen by the MDVA, but the plaque would elevate the sacrifices of Gold Star and Blue Star families in the state's cultural memory. These families, who span generations, come from a diversity of backgrounds, and all call different corners of Minnesota their home. Slide please. Turning to Mr. Max's request to modify the World War I plaque at the Court of Honor, modification requests must meet a different set of conditions than addition requests under CAP board rules. Of relevance for us today is condition A, the applicant's demonstration of sustained, broad-based, and documented public objection to the artwork in its current form. Mr. Maxa highlights in his application that starting over 10 years ago, Minnesota's veterans groups took objection to the language on the World War I plaque, and specifically its explicit memorialization of the 57,413 Minnesotans who saw active combat during this global conflict. This figure did not include over 50,000 service personnel from Minnesota who trained for combat but were never deployed. These veterans groups and their state representatives commenced a legislative effort to rectify this oversight by modifying the plaque to make it more inclusive of those service members supporting the war effort at home. A series of bills were introduced to the Minnesota State Legislature connected to this effort, culminating in the ratification of House File 810 in the spring of 2019. The full bill was circulated to the board prior to this meeting via a memo attachment. Beyond fulfilling the conditions for modification under MR 2400-2703, the board must evaluate modification requests against a set of given criteria. The rules outline over 20 criteria under which a modification request should be evaluated by the board against. Staff would like to highlight 2 of these criteria. The proposed modification embraces historical fact and fosters a range of productive conversations. And the proposed modification acknowledges the evolving social values and accounts for the views and needs of a contemporary community. Addition and modification requests, such as Mr. Trace and Mr. Max's respective applications, follow parallel but slightly different review processes under CAP board rules. However, the next step for both applications in their respective processes is opening a 30-day public comment period and holding 1 public hearing for each application. Thank you, sorry. Here is a graphic representation of the application review process for new commemorative works or commemorative works addition requests. Oh, this is the one. Okay, sorry. So we're a slide behind or ahead. And this is the graphic representation of the application and review process for modifying existing works. As you can see, the processes are similar, but modification requests are slightly more involved. So we are asking the board to authorize the application's progress to the next step in this application and review process in short. But as the graphics show, the board will have many more opportunities to review the proposed memorials if the public comment period and public hearing for both applications is approved. Thank you.
Any questions from members?
Can you just remind me what part of the mall is the Court of Honor, or where that is? If you could give me, I don't know, like either a description or reference.
Definitely. So if you're standing in front of the Veterans Service Building, looking at the Capitol, and there's those panels, that's the World War II Memorial, and surrounding that is the Court of Honor.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, my attention slightly lapsed because I was trying to look that up and I couldn't find it. So if you mentioned this already, I'm sorry, but for the modification to the plaque, do we know the exact modification at this point?
So the precise details of the modification will be ironed out in the design review phase, so that's the kind of last step in the process.
Got it, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Nelson, go right ahead.
Yeah, so the Medal of Honor, thank
Go
you
right ahead, Ms. Kern.
for the question, yeah, so the Medal of Honor Memorial is, basically kind of sits, just right in front of the Veteran Service Building. There's the Fountain of Youth Memorial that's kind of, positioned in the center of it, and then the Medal of Honor Memorial is the two kind of granite slabs that run, perpendicular to the Fountain of Youth.
Senator Nelson.
Exactly. So the World War I plaque currently is at the Court of Honor, which is, it's a kind of arced shape, I can't think of the correct term right now, but like arc-shaped cutout. Yeah. It's on the side of the Veterans Building that's closest to the Capitol.
I was looking for that, but I couldn't.
No. Thank you.
Additional questions?
Senator Nelson, I just wanted to point out that in the packet, there is a map available that shows the locations of the commemorative works. We can also send you some on our website.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Well, thank you so much for your work on this. It is appreciated. So is there a motion to move into the public comment and public hearing? Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Ella, if Ms. Kuhn, if you could please summarize the resolution on the screen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are asking the board to authorize the application to add a new Gold Star, Blue Star commemorative plaque to the Court of Honor to progress to the next step in the application and review process.
Great. Okay, sorry, I just jumped in the gun. Is there a motion to move into the public comment and public hearing process via the state register for the Blue Star and Gold Star commemorative work?
I'll make the motion to move it forward.
Excellent. We're gonna include you in the second, Senator Nelson, if that's all right. So moved by Michael Bjerberg and seconded by Senator Nelson. So we have first and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Now we're going to move into a similar resolution, and Ms. Kuhn, if you would please summarize the next resolution on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are asking the board to authorize Mr. Max's application to modify the World War I plaque at the Court of Honor to progress to the next step in the application and review process. The full resolution can be found on page 29 of your board packet and is pictured here on this slide.
Excellent. Are there any questions? Okay, is there a motion to move into the public comment and public hearing process via the state register for the modification of the World War I plaque commemorative work?
I'll make that motion.
Excellent. And, there's a motion and a second from, Mr. Mann. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, motion approved. Thank you so much, Ms. Kuhn, for, your good work here. Next we have a board action on site selection resolution on 2 commemorative works. Mr. Kelly, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you. Now we have a board action on the site selection resolution on 2 commemorative works, the EMS line of duty and the downtown baseball park. Ms. Kuhn, again, if you can please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we are also speaking with you today to request board approval of recommended sites for 2 separate addition requests. Both applications under consideration were submitted to staff in January of last year, and both have already advanced through the early stages of the review process. If the recommended sites are approved, the applications will proceed to the next stage in the process, and that is design. Like the 2 previous agenda items, we have grouped these 2 items together in the interest of time, as both applications are at the same stage in the review processes and are paired with similar resolutions. That said, like the previous 2 items, the board will vote on both recommended sites separately. We would also like to note that the public will be given the opportunity to provide brief comments on both recommended sites at today's meeting, occurring immediately prior to each board vote on recommended sites. We ask that the comments be kept to 1 minute and pertain solely to the sites themselves and not to other aspects of the project nor their concepts. Sign-up sheets are located at the front desk near the Rice Street entrance of this building for those who are interested in making a comment. The first of these memorials would honor emergency medical services personnel who lost their lives in service. The application sponsor is Adams Harvey, president and founder of the EMS Line of Duty Death Memorial Foundation. Slide, please. The second commemorative work would celebrate a historical baseball park on what is now Capitol grounds, called the Downtown Baseball Park, and colloquially referred to as the Pillbox or Pillbox Park. Stu Thornley of the Halsey Hall chapter of the American Society for American Baseball Research is the applicant for this project. The park notably hosted the all-black St. Paul Gophers and all-white St. Paul Saints during the sport's segregated era. The area we are recommending as the future site of the EMS Loan Memorial is pictured here. It includes the former site of the USS Ward Gun, as well as some green space immediately north of it. Here is an image of that site again, facing south. Regarding the proposed downtown baseball park commemorative work, we are recommending the plaza between the Friedman Building and the Minnesota Department of Health and Agriculture's lab building. The plaza is adjacent to the park's historic site, and here is an aerial of that plaza. And then here are some more images of the plaza from the ground level. Both recommendations emerged from a 9-month site selection study. This process included convening a site selection steering committee to review and comment on pre-circulated candidate sites. The committee included the applicants, representatives of the CAP Board's advisory committee, a representative of MNHS, a representative of the Department of Administration, and CAP Board member Michael Bjornberg. From there, top candidate sites were taken to the board's advisory committee for further discussion in the service of finalizing recommendations. Staff would also like to highlight that we received letters from Carrie Succi at the Department of Administration supporting both recommendations. These letters can be found on page 111 and page 153 of your board packets. For the EMS Memorial, our recommendation is the only site on the Lower Mall for which we're able to secure support of the Department of Administration. Slide, please. Staff are permitted to bring only one site per application to the board. for review per MR 2400-2703 subpart 3 item F. All sites recommended for board consideration furthermore must meet the criteria for determining the location of a new artwork outlined in subpart 4 of MR 2400-2703, pictured here. Broadly speaking, these criteria are a site's visibility and accessibility to the public, a sense of scale, sensitivity to nearby works, respect for the preservation and protection of open space, adherence to all zoning, environmental, and public safety rules and regulations, and finally, fit regarding the CAAPB board's thematic organization of works. Both recommendations meet these criteria. Regarding the EMS memorial, we would like to underscore the recommended sites fit within this thematic organization of works on the Capitol grounds. So the thematic organization of works is outlined in the board's 2040 comprehensive plan and reiterated in the board's 2024 Capitol Mall Design Framework's public space strategies. Under this organization, public service memorials ought to be located on the lower mall near the Veterans Service Building or the area blocked out in red on this slide. Staff identified 13 possible sites located on the lower mall near the Veterans Service Building. These sites are pictured here. Of these sites, stakeholders determined Site 9, extended to include some green space to the north, was the only viable site from these 13 candidates. Here's an image of that recommendation once more for your reference. Research into a site for the ballpark memorial was more constrained and hewed closely to the park's historic footprint. Here's the location of the former park. It sat at the corner of 12th and Robert Street, where the Minnesota Department of Health and Agriculture's lab building is now located. Here's the presumed layout of the park, which was arrived at through research using historical maps and photographs. And then here is an example of one of those maps. The image on the left is the red box on the right, excerpted. The limiting factor that emerged when conducting preliminary research into the sites in and around the park's historic location was the potential site's visibility and accessibility to the public, or item A mentioned just prior, and shown here, slide deck. Much of the perimeter of the lab building where the ballpark once stood is obstructed by the Metro Green Line light rail infrastructure. So this infrastructure, among other things, removes the pedestrian walkway on 12th Street and blocks the entrance to Minnesota Street from 12th. So the only real area that you can get into is through that entrance, through the light rail entrance onto the plaza, unless you're coming from the side of the Capitol. But we would also like to highlight that the plaza is the applicant Stu Thornley's first choice for the proposed commemorative work. And then again, this is an image of the recommendation once more for your reference. A graphic representation of the full application and review process for commemorative works additions request is pictured on this slide. Both of these applications, as I mentioned, have already advanced to the early stages of review, or that area highlighted in blue. If the recommendations are approved by the board today, the applications will advance to the next stage of the application and review process, and that is design. Design review is its own multi-step process, which is defined in our rules, and the process provides many opportunities for direct board input. We would also like to highlight that the board reserves the right to halt the application and review process for both memorials at any time if they should so choose. Thank you.
Are there any questions from members? Ms. Hills.
Knowing that there's not a whole lot of wayfinding on the Capitol Mall right now, is there any plan to make this a little more prominent from, like, when people come to the mall area, to direct them to see other memorials in other parts of the campus?
I think there's definitely an opportunity for that, and that would be something that would be addressed during design review.
Mr. McLean?
Is there, I think for the EMS, memorial, is there any chance of impact to the trees or the green space in that side, or is that something figured out in the design phase?
So, that will also be ironed out in the design phase, but I would like to highlight that, there was discussions around the trees, and so part of the impetus behind enlarging the site a little bit was to allow for, appropriate due diligence. And I would also say that the letter that we received from the Department of Administration supporting the site, explicitly states that that they would prefer that we kept a prerogative to keep those trees, healthy and safe.
I think we have a shared enthusiasm for trees and a deep commitment to having as many trees as possible on the Capitol Mall. Any other questions? Oh yeah, Representative Cleveland.
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a public comment. I find that baseball commemorative work is really important. And I greatly appreciate all of the work that went into the historical research. And if the public has not yet had an opportunity to review that work, I would encourage everyone to read it. It's an important part of our history that I think has been overlooked by the placement of that building. But I think it's a fascinating piece, and to your part, Member Hills, I think it's really important that when we do the wayfinding for the entire Capitol Mall complex, that it is a piece that we highlight. I know Speaker Portman was very interested in making sure that we had in the Capitol Mall design highlights of important pieces of our history, and I think this is a very critical piece that has been overlooked. So thank you for your work on that.
Other questions or comments? Ms. Kieran, I also would just say thank you so much for reminding us of the themes across the Capitol grounds. I think it's just every once in a while to make sure that we are clear that there are themes along the way and that we stay true to those. So I appreciate your good work here. Okay, so this is a really interesting process that we're about to enter into here in the next few minutes. And I say that in the most Minnesotan way possible. I'm glad that it exists. Okay, so Ms. Kuhn, if you could please summarize the resolution on the screen here for our next step.
Yeah, so under our rules, prior to a board deliberation on either site, we must first hold public hearings on each recommended site at today's board meeting to solicit feedback from the public. We are therefore asking the board to open 2 public hearings here today. After hearing comments from the public on each of these sites, we are asking the board to approve the recommended sites for both applications and to authorize its staff to move into design review. Each of these actions, the 2 public hearings and the 2 recommended sites, will be voted on separately, so it should be 4 votes total.
Thank you. Okay, so we will now proceed into the public hearing. Is there a motion to hold a public hearing at the board meeting on the recommendation site for the EMS line of duty commemorative work?
I'll make a motion to proceed with the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
There is a first and a second to hold a public hearing on the EMS line of duty commemorative work. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, the motion is approved. The public hearing is open. Ms. Kuhn, is there anyone who signed up to speak or who would like to comment?
No.
Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay, if anyone would like to raise their hand if they'd like to comment. Seeing no hands raised, thank you. The public hearing is now closed. Okay. So thank you. The next piece here is for, or if there's any questions from board members, as we proceed? Okay. And then we'll do the site selection. So the next piece here, thank you so much. And so we're moving into this piece. Okay, got it. The next resolution. So please summarize the resolution, Ms. Kieran, on the screen.
We are
No, it's okay.
asking the board to approve the recommended site for the EMS Load Memorial and to authorize its staff to begin the first steps in the design process.
Excellent. Is there a motion to approve the recommended site for the EMS line of duty commemorative work?
I move to approve this resolution.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a first and a second to approve the recommended site for the EMS line of duty commemorative work. Is there any discussion? Okay,
Sorry.
go right ahead, yes, Ms. Sullivan.
Given that this was the previous site of another memorial, was there any other thoughts from other military or branches that wanted to use this site for something else? Or this is like, everybody loves this, EMS?
I can't say that, I can't speak on behalf of Minnesota veterans groups at this time. What I can say is that the sites in the Lower Mall are already quite constrained and we have limited availability, and this was the only site that key stakeholders identified as being viable.
Fantastic, thank you.
I would also just add that we know moving the war gun off of the site and up to Camp Ripley was something that folks were very supportive of and interested in. So I think that this probably makes sense as we're proceeding here. Mr. Grunberg.
When we looked at sites, it also offered a synergy with the firefighters more to have EMS together. So that was a real big draw for us.
Okay. Representative Cleveland.
Thank you. I just had a question, and maybe this is better for admin to answer. So there are actually two sites there, and we took the southernmost, our admin suggested the southernmost site where the war gun was, but I think there was a smaller site that was right above it. Do we know, they had no trees. So I'm wondering, is there a reason that the selection for the southern, I think it's southern, yeah, southern site, as opposed to that northern piece?
Thank you for the question. So we attempted to enlarge the site so it includes that second site to the north of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments? Sorry. Okay, so we're going to proceed now with a roll call for this particular vote. Ellen Anderson.
Aye.
Dr. Kate B. Michael Bjornberg.
Aye.
Hannah Hills.
Aye.
James McLean.
Aye.
Melanie McMahon.
Aye.
Jenny, Representative Cleveland.
Jenny's fine.
Excellent. Senator Nelson. Senator Pappas. James Garrett.
Aye.
And I, Chair Flanagan, vote aye. It is unanimous and it passes. Thank you so much. Ella, please tell us what the next steps are now that the site has been selected.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next step in the process is to begin design review, as I mentioned. So this consists of drafting a design framework document, which establishes parameters, and establishing a design review group to select a designer, a design concept through a competitive process. And I should say that both the design framework document and membership of the design review group require board approval before they're implemented.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for walking us through that. So next we will be opening a public hearing for the downtown baseball park commemorative work to comment on the site selection. Ms. Kuhn, if you can please tell us about the site selection, and then we will move into the public hearing.
So the site that we are recommending for the downtown baseball park commemorative work is the plaza between the Friedman building and the Minnesota Department of Health and Agriculture's lab building.
Excellent. Any questions? Okay, if you'd please summarize the resolution on the screen.
We are asking the board to open a public hearing in today's board meeting to hear comments from the public on the recommended site for the downtown baseball park commemorative work.
Excellent. Is there a motion to hold a public hearing at the board meeting on the recommendation site for the downtown baseball park commemorative work?
I move to have hearing.
I'll second that.
Excellent. So we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye, or is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. The public hearing is open. Ms. Kuhn, is there anyone who signed up and would like to comment? Any hands in the room?
We have one person that is interested in making a comment.
Okay, so Mr. Stu Thornley does not want to speak, but wanted to, you're here. So we want to thank you for your good work on this. And we see you and appreciate you. Let the minutes reflect your presence here with us today.
Thanks.
Thank you. Excellent. Any other individual who would like to speak to this? Okay. Well, thank you so much. The public hearing is now closed. So thank you for this. Let's see. Second here, we are now going to move into the resolution. So we had our public hearing, we are now moving into our resolution. Ms. Kuhn, will you please summarize the resolution on the screen with regards to the downtown baseball park site?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are asking the board to approve the recommended site for the downtown baseball park commemorative work and to authorize its staff to begin the first stages of design review. The full resolution is included in your board packet and featured on this slide.
Excellent. Any questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve the recommended site for the downtown baseball park commemorative work?
I move to approve that.
Excellent. First from Mr. Garrett, second from Ms. Anderson. Excellent. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will go ahead and take the roll. Ellen Anderson.
Aye.
Dr. Keith Bean. Michael Bjornberg.
Aye.
Hannah Hills.
Aye.
James McLean.
Aye.
Melanie McMahon.
Aye.
Representative Cleamore.
Aye.
Senator Nelson. Senator Pappas. James Garrett.
Aye.
And Chair Flanagan, I vote aye. It is unanimous, and Ms. Kuhn, please tell us what next steps are ahead of us now that the site has been selected.
Thank you. The next steps for the ballpark commemorative work are the same as that of EMS Memorial, and that is starting the first steps in the design review process.
Excellent. Are there questions or comments? I just wanted to thank you for all of this work getting us here. There were many things in motion, but this is very exciting. Both of these pieces. So just I'm grateful for your good work and excited for next steps.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Multiple meetings in one meeting, right? Okay, now we have item 7, a conditional use permit for residential solar within the Capworth area. Peter Musty, if you could please present the details, introduce yourself and the action item ahead of us today.
Item 7, Charles Street Residential Solar. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Peter Musty, Principal Planner and Zoning Administrator for Capworth. Excuse me. Board members, you can, thank you, Jess. Board members, your memo for this item is brief, and it outlines staff findings and resulting support for action in favor of the owner's application for solar panels at 192 Charles. Forgive me, 194 Charles. We require a conditional use permit for all solar installations in the capital area, including for residential applications, and conditional use permits require a board vote. The panels proposed will be affixed to the west slope of the roof and as configured, meet all requirements and standards in the rules. The city of St. Paul has already reviewed and created installation permit for the proposed residential application. Pending our permit. Next. Madam Chair, staff finds that the project meets all standards and requirements of the rules and all conditions listed, qualifying it for approval of conditional use permit, and suggests no conditions.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Musty. Is there any questions about this addition? Representative Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And one of the questions I have about this is maybe with CAP board just in general, and not to this particular application, but with the growing approval and the streamlining of solar panels, is this something that we are going to continue to require to review? And that might be something that we discuss at another meeting, but I think to have residents have to go through a two-step process when the city planning has already approved it, it seems to me to be not an effective use of our time or their time. So it might be something that we would want to consider in future to streamline this process.
Madam Chair, Board Member Cleburne, Peter must probably answer that, and we've thought about that in the rulemaking, and yeah, we've talked quite a bit about streamlining it. This is because our rules haven't been updated since 2014, I think, so we're a little behind on it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, general alignment with the city would make a lot of sense, not just for our process, but for customers.
Exactly, right, for ordinary
And
citizens.
so, you know, I think in residential applications where there's standard and the city can handle,
Right.
maybe that is good. In some commercial areas, we may want to have more of a review.
Yeah, I'm speaking solely of
Sure.
residential application at this moment.
Really
Okay,
good point.
thank you.
Representative, I think that's correct, and I also, to the residents at Charles Avenue, having to wait for this meeting
Yeah,
to convene to begin that process, I know is probably a little frustrating, so,
And
yes.
cost.
Yes, it absolutely is, so,
Yeah, okay.
is worth exploring, certainly. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the conditional use permit for residential solar on Charles Avenue?
I will move to approve the solar.
Excellent.
I will second that.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion is approved. Next up, we have item 8, an update and action item on the Bronze Line Bus Rapid Transit. Our principal planner and zoning administrator, Peter Rusty, as well as Stephen Smith, are here as well from Ramsey County, will present the details. Please introduce yourself and proceed with this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next two items are both related to the Bronze Line, bus rapid transit line, planned from Union Depot in St. Paul to Maplewood Transit Center. The first item presented by Bronze Line project leads including Stephen Smith, or project lead, including Stephen Smith of Ramsey County, is an update of the Bronze Line bus rapid transit. Ciara Schlichting will join us next as the lead project consultant for the stationary planning along the Bronze Line, and Ciara will provide information related to opening a comment period for the East Campus Design Framework. The memo provided for Bronze Line update contains information related to overall line and the preferred alternative, preferred alternatives for the northern route. The line has since gone through a realignment, pauses, funding uncertainties, and now a renewal under rebranding as the Bronze Line. Today, Stephen will provide an update about that, and we will ask you to consider a letter of support. Very pleased to turn to Stephen Smith.
Thank you, Peter. We're really excited to be here. My name is Stephen Smith again, and I'm the Ramsey County project manager for the Metro Bronze Line. And then also in the back is Craig Lamoff. He's the Metro Transit project manager. I wanted to introduce him to as well. And because these projects are a little bit, excuse me, unique, we do them together. We, as Ramsey County, helps fund them. Metro Transit will end up operating it, but we also design it together. So it's a little bit different in that regard. I also want to provide you a project update. It's been a while since we've been here, and then also a little bit of our history too. Peter gave a little bit of our history. That's the next slide. So I kind of want to start off with the locally preferred alternative and the transportation and policy plan. Back in May of 2017, we had a LPA recommendation, a locally preferred alternative recommendation from Union Depot to downtown White Bear Lake. It was about 15 miles long. And then in 2018, we had where in the 2040 TPP, it was adopted into the TPP. Since then, there's been some project history updates. So I'm going to provide you with that too as well. You go to the next slide. So a lot of changes have been made to the project. It was once going to downtown White Bear Lake, and then it changed through community input, through council input too as well. So we've been through like the study phase throughout. And so from 2021 to 2023, we're looking for where can we end the project, because we learned that it's not going to be White Bear Lake. So in 2023, we determined it's going to be at the end of at Maplewood Transit Center, from Union Depot to Maplewood Transit Center. But then from 2023, we went through another study phase to end where we're at today in 2025, 2026. The route alignment that you're going to see here before you, which was really trying to determine north of Maryland, are we going to use the Bruce Window Trail, or are we going to use a local road, which is also a Ramsey County local road? We determined that we're going to use a Ramsey County local road. So it's Maryland Avenue and White Bear Avenue, which leads us to north of getting to the Maplewood Transit Center. So you can go to the next slide. So through community input, you're probably wondering, well, how did you go from purple line to bronze line? It really, when you looked at the project history, there was a lot of changes to the project. A lot of community input through the years, a lot of confusion related to what is the route. I think now this gives us a fresh new start for people that's going to be joining us through engagement now. They understand what the project is and not have to refer to what the project was. So I think this is a really nice fresh start for us. We're still focused on transit reliability. About 50% of the route is dedicated transit lanes. Still focused on enhancing the safety. We're reconstructing Maryland, we're reconstructing White Bear Avenue and other portions of the alignment. So we still want to focus on safety and pedestrian improvements too as part of this. It's about a 10-mile route, so from Union Depot to Maplewood Mall is around 10 miles long. We have 22 stations in total, 17 new. 5 of the stations downtown is built by others, so they're kind of existing or will be built. So we have Gold Line stations that we share. There's a G Line station that we're going to share, that's at 10th. For the CAAPB board, the first station that we're going to build that's going to be Bronze Line is going to be the 14th Street station. And then the other CAAPB board station is Mount Airy too as well. The next slide. So just for context related to what is a BRT station and what does it feel like, if you look at like a Gold Line station, it's very similar. So we have real-time messaging, off-board fare collection, bike racks, security cameras, heated shelters. I think that's really important in Minnesota. So it's really the look and feel that you see today related to the Gold Line station if you've been to one. Go to the next slide. So a little bit about our project statistics. So along the route, we're about 2/3 BIPOC community, 17% zero-car households, 11% population over 65, 38% under 25, and we have about 12 schools, 5 healthcare facilities, and then 2 libraries along the route. Next slide. So engagement, like everything we do is shaped by engagement. Like to get us to the point that we're at today was all shaped by that feedback. Working with our business community, ISABA, WASABA, working with the district councils too as well, working with the different community. The main thing that we want to do is make sure that we're meeting people where they're at too. So we do pop-up events. We do the traditional open houses too as well, but we want to make sure that we're constantly communicating with the public too. And I actually going to a community event this weekend too, so it never ends, it's always throughout the entire process. And then right now we're going through, now that we have a new locally preferred alternative, which was recommended back in December 2025 by our Corridor Management Committee, which is made up of policymakers and leadership. And so we are going through the resolution support process. So we have the City of St. Paul, Ramsey County Regional Rail, City of Maplewood, MnDOT just recently provided one, and so we're here today to also talk to the CAP board. We also launched a new website, so we are going through the new branding. We have a new website for people to stay in contact, get information about the project. And so this is our new website, and you can also continue to follow us here too as well and get additional information about the project. The next slide, and then our senior leadership staff too as well, myself, Craig, and our design managers and our engagement lead too as well. One thing I did not have on the slides is our time frame. So we're going into design this fall. So we're gonna start off again, go into design. We're thinking that we would be in construction around 2030, and then actually 2032 is when we would actually start receiving customers and picking up customers. So that's kind of our rough time frame right now. And with that, I will pause for any questions.
Thank you, Stephen. And I just want to add one point in about the parallel track, so to speak, of the station design process and the route versus the stationary plan. Could you speak just a second to that?
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to get a sub-recipient grant through Metro Transit to start studying what happens within a half a mile within the station. And so Sierra is going to be able to talk briefly about that, but we looked at along the entire route up to Maryland Avenue is what we really focused on, because that's what we were sure of at the time. And like I mentioned before, we were studying what would happen north of Maryland. So we went through that process, and we went through a stationary planning process to kind of understand zoning, understand opportunity, wayfinding, things like that, to really help lead policy on what can we do as a region, as with our cities, around those stations to make them stronger, especially with transit-oriented development too as well. So.
And we have continually checked in with Department of Administration on the station design and on the route, and so I'm looking forward to continuing that again. Madam Chair and board members, attachment A is page 159 in your packets. To the Bronze Line update memo is a draft statement that characterizes nature of board support, broader support, continued support for the line. The similar letter has been requested from other planning jurisdictions, as you mentioned. The board previously issued a statement of support for the line after the last visit from staff leaders at Ramsey County and Metro Transit in 2022. And when board members reviewed and approved Purple Line bus rapid transit station locations at 14th Street between Robert and Jackson, and up at Mount Airy, Winter along Jackson. Those station locations have not moved, so that still is binding. Our approval there is still binding for the location. The slide summarizes the intent of the letter. Attachment A contains the statement in full. Briefly, the statement reaffirms support for the line serving the capital area and affirms our policy that supports regional investments in enhanced transit, and that it improves mobility, access, and comfort for residents, workers, and visitors, advances our comp plan goals, including better access to jobs, lower transportation costs, shorter commutes, reduced roadway pressures, and improved access to the Capitol campus. Specifically, the statement affirms support for route and station locations within the Capitol area, and affirms direction to staff to continue to ensure high-quality station and area design with partners. Again, page 159 is the full statement. Chair. The next slide, please.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Smith. We are big fans of community engagement around here at the CAP board, so excited you walked us through that. And Mr. Musty, thank you as well. And I just have to say that having an adorable baby at the table is like focus flame again. We're talking about you. Absolutely.
On cue.
So yes, I hope that the next chair of the CAP board also realizes how important it is to be able to have babies at these meetings and kiddos in the room. So, okay. So we've got our resolution language here, and so I would ask, well, Mr. Musto, you just summarized the resolution, so I would ask if there is a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Wonderful. We've got a first and a second to approve the resolution. Any discussion? Yes, Representative Cleveland.
Thank you. So when we originally looked at the bus stops, we all agreed that those were good locations, but then the question I have is, and this is for the Rice Street area, Rice Street, right? Okay. The public safety component of that stop, has that been addressed? Because I think there was conversation at a previous meeting about whether or not pedestrians could cross safely to get to the stop itself. Has that been addressed?
Go ahead. Okay. We aren't, this is really the broader statement of support,
Perfect.
and we
Okay.
look forward, like Stephen mentioned,
Yeah.
to moving into the design again.
Perfect, okay, that's
So
great.
we're staying at the planning level, and design is absolutely next with the Fuller team, led by Craig and Stephen.
Okay, I just want to make sure I think we're.
Absolutely. Thank
Great
you.
question.
Thank you, Representative. That's helpful. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Ms. McMahon.
I was just gonna say thank you, Mr. Smith, for coming, for continued work, and just noting support for this. The city's already passed a resolution of support. This is something BRT is really popular in the community for the services that it provides, and I'm excited for increased service, not just to the CAP area, but, you know, from downtown and connecting to broader throughout the metro as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Representative Cleveland.
Thank you, that was one other thing also, Mr. Smith, I wanted to address. I'm excited that the Maplewood Mall has been added as a destination, because I think that people who live in the Capwood area, to be able to have that access is really important, and for the economic viability of that mall, this is really important. So thank you so much for including that.
Mr. Brown.
Having worked on the Union Depot and helping Ramsey County pitch the value of it to the surrounding communities, it's really rewarding to see it continue to get used for transit. So thank you.
Excellent. We have
That was another support.
Focus, everybody, focus.
maybe
We all want playtime.
Yes. Puppies to the next meeting. My kryptonite is with babies at the table. Okay, we've got a resolution in front of us. There is a motion in front of us. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Excellent. The motion is approved. So we're going to move on to the next item on today's agenda. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for joining us today. The next item on today's agenda is item number 9. Item number 9 is related to the last item, and it is an update and an action item on the East Campus Design Framework. Peter Musto and Ciara Schlichting, he's a lead consultant on the Bronze Light Station area, will present the details. So please introduce yourself. Right before you do, I just want to name that Representative Schultz has also joined us online. So please introduce yourself and proceed with your item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, for the second item related to the Bronze Line, we're pleased to bring you information relative to a specific component of the draft 14th Street stationary plan that has been developed in parallel to the larger Bronze Line route and station design process that Stephen just described. Your memos contain a summary of the stationary planning process and a draft resolution in support of bringing the draft design framework to workers, institutions, and agencies for review and changes for further development. We are not asking for approval today. Rather, we're asking for you simply to authorize the beginning of a range of staff engagements and reviews of the draft. I will outline these steps after Ciara's presentation. Sierra Schlichting of Told Consultant Team will present background on the stationary planning and then briefly describe a customized sub-element of the 14th stationary plan that was for the capital area, called the East Campus Design Framework. Kindly, their team formatted the framework element to fit with our mosaic of design and development frameworks, such as the Capital Rights Development Framework and the Capital Mall Design Framework. Keep in mind that the framework is similar to other frameworks we now have at the in the capital area, are illustrative of previously adopted plan policy. They're not to be considered designs that will be implemented exactly as drawn. And then later, they will be helpful in guiding the design and implementation of your policy. So also preview that the area studied in the southeast of the Capital Urban Campus is within walking radius of the planned new station, 14th Street, between Jackson and Robert. There was a focus on how the district could become more walkable over time and to and from the station. I'm excited to introduce the draft plan to you today, but then in the coming months hope to step back into a period of open comment in the community, informal comment, reviews of the draft with partner agencies and neighboring institutions such as regions. Chair, we will invite Sierra to present, and I will overview the proposed next steps and the simple resolution.
Thank you. I'm Ciara Schlichting, and I was the Ramsey County Consultant Project Manager for Station Area Planning. As Pete said, a lot of planning has occurred along the Browns line, both in the capital area and in St. Paul. And so we built off those plans and engaged the community to prepare transit-oriented development for 8 BRT stations along the line. Within the CAP board area, there are 3 station areas. It's a half a mile around the station, and so those are the 3 plans that have land within the CAP board jurisdiction. But today, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the 4-year planning process, a flavor of the plan content, which is a special, with a special focus on the East Campus Design Framework, which is a special chapter in the 14th Street Station, and we will be asking to open up a public comment period on that component of the plan. Next slide. In terms of the planning process, we started back in 2023, digging into those existing plans and policies and recruited participants for our station area work groups, which James McLean sat on our station area work groups for a couple of years. In 2024, we continued engaging the community and really having folks reflect upon the goals and actions and the implementation ideas. We pulled all of that together into draft plans. In 2025, we've been reviewing the plans with project partners at the CAP board, Ramsey County, City of St. Paul, and Metro Transit. And in that process, Pete said, could you dig in a little bit harder to the east side of campus to really help build off the Capital Mall Design Framework? And we did that, and that's what we're here today with. Next slide. All of these station area plans have the same 4 broad goals that were developed through community and partner engagement, and really they are centered on this Bronze Line BRT investment, lifting up the community and not displacing them. Next slide, please. So this is the station area, the big circle around the 14th Street Station. So the middle of that circle is the 14th Street Station at Jackson Street. Nearby station area plans overlap, so really the 14th Street Station area is the part that is not shaded or covered over. Generally bounded by Rice Street on the west, University to the north, Regents Hospital and 35E to the east, and then the south is I-94. Each station area plan has like 3 big ideas, and one of them is the East Campus Design Framework. Next slide. So this is an excerpt of the special chapter for the East Campus Design Framework. It was really a further exploration into a smaller area, building off the Capital Mall Design Framework. Next slide. The area for this East Campus Design Framework is bounded really by like Cedar, University, Jackson Street, and 12th. This diagram is the overall framework that shows the stations and the routes, existing and proposed bike connections in blue, primary and secondary pedestrian connections in red, public gathering places in green. Also proposed wayfinding, public art locations, and ideas for development and redevelopment. Next slide. We broke up this area into 6 focus areas. And I'm just going to give you a flavor for one of the focus areas, which is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, really building off the Capitol Mall design framework that called for a shared street and really continuing that from Cedar all the way to Robert. Next slide. So level of detail here, don't have to digest everything today, but generally speaking, what it shows is that we would, of course, continue to provide vehicle access to parking while really enhancing the pedestrian experience. The 2-lane road, the idea is that all vehicle traffic would move to the north, keep the tree-lined boulevard, and then the southern leg would be converted to comfortable spaces for people walking and biking between the Capitol and the Robert Street station, and then eventually to the 14th Street station. So just wanted to give you a flavor for the East Campus design framework, and now I'll turn it back to Pete to talk about next steps.
Thank you, Ciara. It is worth mentioning, as a small staff, CAAPB board has had to repeatedly rely on interagency teams and partners to provide lenses and aspirational imagery illustrative of adopted policy we otherwise would not have had resources or time to complete. So we wish to thank, and I'd like you to go to the next slide. Next one, yeah, further along. There, right there. Thank you. It's worth mentioning, really, so we wish to thank Ramsey County, Metro Transit and their consultant teams for their ability to produce draft illustrative framework following the broader community process leading to the broader stationary plans. The next steps are outlined in this memo. I can wait, but I'd like to just outline them so you see what we're approving, which is the next steps. Okay? Thank you. The first is really, hope is that with a set of revisions based on this discussion, well, I'm sorry, take that back. Starting back here with number A. One is to continue the collaboration with major public and private owners and public realm agencies. We would need to meet immediately with the agencies listed as you see on the slide, talk through the vision, how the stationary plan and the Capitol Mall design framework gave the planning policy behind the illustrations, and refine them and look at things like the safety and the crossings and the connectivity. Next. We would announce a period of review when we're ready, when the staff can do it, review and evaluation of the draft plans directly with the community and the transit users, hopefully also giving a range of input options for workers within the state campus, and take enough time to hear about that input. See then, we would then at some point return to the board at the right timing and ask for approval or further direction at that point. But we would want all the agencies comfortable. And there would also be a very clear understanding, these are not designs for what will be built. This is illustrative policy. So it allows us to, with design guidelines, understand what our policy is in these documents. And then projects come forward when we have the funding to do so. But we're ready for things with this document. So we would come back for approvals. This is simply a time to say, go and interact with the community on this. And that's all outlined in the memo, and our hope is that we would come back this year, but we will see how that works. So I turn back to you, Chair, for any questions, discussion, and I'll note that Ciara and Stephen as well are available in case there are any board questions.
Excellent. Any questions from members?
Yes. Sarah, I have really appreciated working with you on these for a while now, and I'm just really appreciative of how detailed they are and that they provide this area with the level of support that's needed as projects come forward to say, like, yes, the community does support this type of project, or no, it does not. So I'm really looking forward to what can come out of this process.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Anderson?
Thank you, Chair. I really appreciate this, and I appreciate the illustrative, though not exactly what will end up, examples. You mentioned workers and connecting with workers to get feedback and input. Can you talk a little bit more about how you might do that, if that is fleshed out at all, or if there are tools that you are using to connect with the folks who are using this space every day? Either of you, whoever's best positioned.
Yeah, I would say we had recruited station area work group participants, which did represent, regions and other major businesses, and so sharing the information out with them is important to that. But in terms of specifics of we're targeting this person on this day, that is still to be worked out.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, administration will be really helpful in collaborating on if that makes sense. But we'll start with their collaboration with their agencies or other agencies in the district to see how it works best for their workers.
Got it.
This is also in our jurisdiction, but Regions is across the street. So we will also reach out to them and see how best, whether it's a survey, whether it's a virtual open house for everyone, or a real open house, in person. We'll have a set and we'll be very clear about it. But it's not, we haven't figured that out yet, to be honest.
Appreciate it. And I appreciate the thought that goes into the folks who are working on in these spaces too. I think that's really helpful. Thank you.
As Ms. Anderson, as someone who is deeply familiar with the enterprise, I would also just invite you specifically to provide any feedback or ideas that you have for engagement for folks at the state level too. Yeah, thank you. Okay, excellent. So we'll now proceed. We have a summary of the resolution that is before us. So you can go ahead and read that, and I feel confident that we can walk through what the next steps are here. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the release of the East Campus Design Framework and move into review and comment.
Excellent, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. McLean, thank you. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The motion is approved. Thank you so much. Hooray, the motion is approved. Let's move on to the next item, which is item 10, is an update and approval on the 60% design for the Rice Street project. Peter Musty, Kyla Mays, Bolton Mink, and our consultant team lead, Anna Potter, the City of St. Paul Public Works project co-lead will present the details, so please introduce yourself and proceed with the item. And good luck competing with the baby.
I'm not gonna be able to compete, just gonna say that.
Please go right ahead.
Okay. Next, we are pleased to bring before the board another midpoint update of what might be the most impactful and transformative public realm project in the capital area since the light rail transit was built. We have back with us today consultant team lead Hyla Mays of Bolton Mink, who will present information, and for the first time on this item, I think, Anna Potter, project lead from the City of St. Paul, who will be available for questions. The memo for this item overviews the project and provides a simple resolution of board support. The memo also includes a statement of support from the CAP Board Advisory Committee, who have attended project management team meetings with staff, team leads, and the project design engineers. Attachment A that you have is a design summary, updated with typical design cross sections of the new Rice Street design north of University and south of University. Attachment B is the full 60% layout plan that was originally released a couple months ago, that already received comment in the community. Attachment C is the staff summary of findings from us in regard to the project's basic compliance with our statute and our comprehensive plan. You know, is it meeting our policy? That finding remains essentially unchanged since we brought you the 30% design in October of last year. Since it's been several months since the board has met, I will provide some reminders about the project. The team's design, contracting, and project management team is managed by Ramsey County and the City of St. Paul Public Works in partnership with CAAPB and includes collaboration with partners at Metro Transit on their work developing new BRT stations along Rice Street. The multi-agency staff team are working with funds initially dispersed through the Department of Transportation to Ramsey County, but the entire project is made possible due to the Office of Governor and Lieutenant Governor's support of the $25 million provision created and passed by the 2023 Minnesota Legislature. Updates on the project have been and are available in past memos on our website and on the website at Ramsey County, the project page, if you search on Capital Race Reconstruction. Next. And the next slide. Sorry about that. One more. Sorry about that. The project has been a priority for staff implementation since the 2040 comprehensive plan process ratified the city's earlier race station area plans vision. Our comp plan chapter 4 outlines the renewal for Rice Street as a great street, a connector of the community, transforming what is often a barrier into a comfortable, walkable green spine connecting the capital area east to west. It also complements or completes the regional, county, and city vision to reinvest in Rice Street as a key north-south transit corridor for workers and families in our community, providing access to transportation choices that will keep jobs accessible and living affordable. This project positions Rice Street as a functioning main street within an urban village vision centered at University and Rice. For campus, the Rice Street project will enable a renewed Western arrival experience with an integrated set of public spaces and welcoming amenities to assist visitors, commuters, and residents. Next. You're looking at a rendering for the Capital Mall Design Framework and aspirational vision for the southeast corner. We will have more on the design spaces in the next item. Today, for the corridor itself, the board is asked by the design and engineering team to consider support for the 60% layout design, which proposes, go ahead, next one. Yeah, thank you. Which proposes major design elements of the thoroughfare concept from north to south. The board's support enables the project to confidently move forward with continuing final stages of design development. Due to the staff, landowner, and community comments received at a range of venues, including from board members, there are studies already underway at several spots on the corridor and key intersections and points of access to important sites. Hyla will include an overview of some of those studies now underway. Hyla, please take it away.
Thank you, Peter. As Peter has just gone through, this proposed design has progressed over the past few months. And can we actually just go back to the slide briefly?
Thanks, Jesse.
With the 3-lane roadway concept, the design changes at University, and that's an important component here because the right-of-way narrows north of University, hence the need for a different design concept. However, there's a continuity of the policy goals and the key components here, with cycle track, a dedicated bikeway and shared use path, sidewalk and pedestrian improvements, and medians and spaces for additional greening of the corridor with trees. Next slide. Design benefits here are outlined as focused on community goals and on the larger regional connectivity. Benefits of the design include more space for tree canopy, more trees to green the corridor, safer vehicle and pedestrian operations along the corridor, a right-sized off-street bike facility as space allows to allow for safer connectivity to the larger and local and regional bike network, a combination of future redevelopment plans. You heard earlier from the Rondo team about how there's an interface there, and we're certainly talking with them. And integration, of course, with the Metro G Line BRT stations, which are being designed and planned along this corridor in concurrence. Next slide. As Peter mentioned, there are several focus areas along this corridor where we have sort of an intensive effort to look more closely at design solutions. The northern one is at Como and Pennsylvania. We're proposing reconfiguring that intersection, which currently is one of the higher crash rate intersections along the corridor, to improve safety and operations around there. That'll include consolidating some of the many access points to area businesses and coordinating with the Rice Street North project, which if you're driven up here, you know it's already under construction. These points are being discussed with the property owners presently to make sure that we're bringing them along with the process. Next slide. The central focus area, and we'll talk more detailed about the mobility hub sort of commons area later in the presentation. But in this section, we are focused on several different conversations and design solutions. At Aurora and Rice, we've been developing alternatives for the connectivity in coordination with the property owners. We've been adding dedicated bus lane content and capacity in response to concerns expressed the last time we met with the board. We followed up on what we heard and redesigned it accordingly. And also road crossings and alignments with the new public spaces being designed. Finally, the next one, southwest area around Rondo, John Ireland, and generally the southern anchor of the corridor. We're coordinating with the John Ireland Bridge project, currently underway, and 12th Street Bike project, Capital City Bikeway, which is underway and forthcoming. Access to MnDOT parking and access at that location, and also, of course, the southern end of the Searside project. The corridor design progression process, Peter has already mapped out for you. You can see where we are at the 60%. The goal is within just a few months to be at 90% with completion of final design through the end of the year. Construction will be in spring and fall of 2027 in coordination with many other construction projects in this area. Next slide. There's, of course, many project considerations, which in consultant speak translates to meetings. There's been many conversations with many of the stakeholders, many of the projects, and many of the different activities ongoing in this area to ensure that as the design is moving forward, we're taking all that into consideration, having discussions about staging, priorities, and other needs in the area. There's, of course, some of the key policy issues that have to be addressed through this, understanding the timing of how things come together, the trade-offs in an urban corridor, everything can't be maximized, what are the most important things, improving operations and maintenance for users and for through traffic, managing access effectively, and of course construction phasing. At this point, I think we're pausing to allow for board discussion and questions.
Thank you. I'll chair back to you for questions and discussion.
Excellent, thank you for walking us through all of that. Any questions from board members, comments, reflections on what you've seen today? Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Chair. On the theme of state employee access to things, which is kind of my MO today, but I know when we last met, we talked a little bit about doing another round of outreach to state employees, just knowing that telework policies have changed and the footprint of number of people working on the Capitol complex as state employees is maybe different than it was when this project started. And I know you had some additional outreach conversations with people who are working here. Can you talk a little bit about what you heard from them and what kind of feedback they gave through that experience? I think that would be helpful for me to understand.
Excellent.
Sure.
Yep.
I'll start, but then I'll run through.
Excellent.
There were really two levels of that. One was to look at University and Rice, and I can allow Anna Potter to speak a little bit to that and how it was resolved. The other is a general inclusion of not just the agency leadership, but workers. And the pop-ups here, the workshops, a lot of the open virtual conversations were for everyone, and we made sure that all of the community was included in those, from 30 to 60%. Yeah. So then I'll turn it back to Anna maybe first.
Yeah, I'll elaborate on the University and Rice change that happened that was a result of taking feedback from this group and from employees of the state. You know, there was some concern that all the traffic in a single travel lane northbound would be challenging to keep everyone moving and keep transit moving. So the change that we made was we added an extra lane for the bus to pull out and have people get on and off the bus there so that everybody can keep moving. That was a result of hearing feedback here and hearing employee feedback. Yeah, I'd say that the feedback generally that we heard was about traffic operations, and it did elicit, more analysis and look at our traffic model and making sure that we do have a conservative estimate of activity baked into it. Traffic models are models, and they're I don't want to say guesses of the future, but it's our best educated guess of the future. So we did take another look at various inputs to make sure we had a very conservative estimate of how many people would be driving here.
Absolutely. I will also say that during the process, we've kept this really giant spreadsheet of all the different agencies and touch points and subgroups we've talked to when we met with them and the findings. So as part of the record for this, if people are interested in looking back to say, who did you talk to and when, we will have that information available once the process concludes.
Thank you. Additional questions, comments? Okay. Thank you for this update. We've got a resolution that is in front of us, just showing now on the slide. And so, Mr. Mussey, would you just quickly summarize?
Certainly, the slide contains resolution simply approving the direction of the 60% design in your memos.
Thank you.
And that allows the team to feel confident about moving toward the 90% and then returning. The footnote here is that our responsibility, our statute requires the board to formally approve this project. So the 90% design will come back in front of you one more time this year for final approval. And it might be sooner than we think.
Okay. Thank you. And so that will come before us before the end of the year.
Yeah, that is the hope.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution before us?
I'll make a motion to approve the direction of 60% design and support further development.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. There's a first and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The motion passes. We've got our additional piece, next item is item 11, which is related to the last item, and it is an update and action item on the preferred alternative for the Rice and University Commons. So this is Lot AA and Lot C. Peter, Hyla, Bolton, Anna, if you all can walk us through this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, the last planning item we have today is an update and early board consideration of the design for public spaces at University and Rice. Hyla will identify the latest design the Rice Street team has developed, how we arrived at the concept, and then both Anna and Hyla will be available again to provide answers on the information before we move to board consideration on the proposed design direction and guidance. Again, actually, the next slide. I apologize for the shuffle. Thank you. This slide is really an aerial of all the different locations to help orient folks to these spaces. They don't really, what you would say, read right now because of the construction we have. There is one green that's been improved just north of University at the old Ford site, the former parking lot, Lot C. And then we have a construction trailer at Lot AA down there. So to orient you to the location, we're really talking today about 2 of the 4 corners at University and Rice. The 2 future green spaces were created via legislation in 2023 as a way to balance the loss of space in Leif Erikson Park and include the southwest corner and the northwest corner. The southwest corner and the northeast corner, formerly Lot C and Ford Village. This corner is poised after major construction of new streets and new buildings as the new western arrival point to the Capitol campus and center of the Capitol area. Next. The memo explains the sites and also includes a summary background of community visioning, planning, and policy addressing this corner. It details the engagement activities and lists of policy documents we've approved addressing this location, including 3 comprehensive plan chapters and our 2 major design frameworks and development frameworks, providing specific guidance for the corner. The memo includes a snapshot of the 2023 legislation enabling and guiding implementation that you see here. Also lists the planning and design engagement activities after that. The memo previewing the presentation today picks up with the multi-agency team's work in 25 and 26 during the Rice Street process to develop specific guidance for the spaces. Next. The images you'll see accompany an evolving vision statement for the spaces developed iteratively over a few months by the Bolton and Meg team. The design led by Bolton and Meg settled on 3 alternatives that narrowed to a favorite option. The alternatives in the favorite option were open for 2 rounds of reviews and comments. The memo lists the neighbors and neighboring institutions and groups that were consulted, and we have letters from St. Paul City School, League of Minnesota Cities, and Christ on Capitol Hill Lutheran Church, in addition to the statement included from your advisory committee. We conducted virtual and open houses, included board members and legislative leadership, consulted with state agencies, hosted pop-ups, and invited board and leadership to attend lunchtime conversations about these designs. As we develop the design, we will be balancing activation with safety and costs. We've met monthly with the Department of Administration to coordinate and update them. We anticipate funding for construction and maintenance that will come from the funds required for the Rice Street project from the Department of Administration and possibly from the Capital Region Watershed District. The importance of design collaboration with administration and the Rice Street team as they navigate larger projects is to ensure we integrate the design into the street and the state office building projects to reduce maintenance costs related to inconsistencies, to capture opportunities to design mobility, safety, and stormwater infrastructure efficiently so the spaces work together. It's taken a lot of patience and hard work by staff and their staff leads from several agencies that deserve thanks just to get to this point. Everyone is giving a little to find a vision that serves Minnesotans from across the state and from here in this community. I'm going to really just say, if you permit me here, to say the common strand within all the community input and the policy approved to this point is that the community and their leadership want to see a renewal, a transformation into a safe and green, comfortable place that's convenient, that's welcoming to everyone, that's connected to them all, and provides an arrival experience befitting a great Capitol campus. A new public gathering space reconnecting downtown campus and neighborhoods of St. Paul. No other location in the Capitol area regularly has or will handle such a confluence of visitors, constituents, workers, and residents. The transformation surrounds the space, so there is need for new elements to tie together. So once the Rice Street project is completed by the end of next year, this will become a fully multimodal hub for light rail, enhanced regional and bus local service, bike connections, all relieving pressure on the parking resources many expect. So, Hyla, I would turn it over to you, and then we will come back to resolutions.
Certainly, thanks, Peter. Next slide. This is just a map here of the area context, very familiar since we're sitting just a couple blocks away from here. Understand that as Peter put this, this design for this is progressing not just as in isolation, but as part of a larger system and connected network of public spaces that are activated and managed as part of the campus vision and as an integration into the community, including with the future redevelopment areas. Next slide. Our design process included thinking about what the core elements that make it necessary for this to be successful. You can see here some diagrammatic pieces from our urban design side that thought through what is important here, thinking about how the space will be programmed, what will be activated, what will be there, what types of events will be held, how that will be managed. Thinking about mobility amenities, people coming and arriving from the transit station, from the BRT, the LRT, walking, biking, school buses, school nearby, the many different ways those are integrated in here. The visual connections, you've heard many times about the connections here, how people have views into the capital area, how this is a pivot point and a visible point from the community side. And of course, structure and commemoration. What pieces will exist on this site? Commemoration piece, I know that's a special niche discussion that you've heard about earlier, so we're not sure how that would land here. There's not a called out piece for there, but leaving it open for this something that could be represented here as a recognition of what is important. Next slide. You see here some concept iteration where there's some various shades and differences here. I'm not going to spend the time, I know we're short on time, to go into the details here. The materials are in your packet, and if you have questions or are curious about design details, there is a lot of thought put into these in terms of how to make these exemplary public spaces that have a feel and a cadence to them, but are also flexible to allow for a wide variety of different uses, and also connectivity and complementary to the rest of the network here. The engagement number, I'm sorry, but you see this bottom is again a little, back to the, sorry, previous slide, Jesse. Small words, but this lists some of the agencies and groups that Peter referenced earlier that were consulted in this, had the opportunity to comment, an opportunity to weigh in and put in their 2 cents in terms of what they want to see here. The next slide is the refined concept, which shows some different components. Again, I'm not going to go into design details unless there's questions about this in terms of the elements, but suffice to say, it is meant to be a flexible public space that is green, that is inviting, that is well cared for, that has an interface with the capital area in terms of programs and activities.
While we have this slide up, Senator Pappas, question for you.
Yes.
So in the bonding bill, you put in the additional $800,000 for trees for the Capitol Mall complex. What I would just like to raise for awareness now, and I would invite you to conversation with me on this, if there are elements that are not, quote, trees, but would qualify for public bonding for this lot C and AA, I would like for us to think about how we could maybe amend, if this is a possibility, I don't know. If we could amend the bonding language to allow for those additional fixed fixtures for these 2 lots. It's just something I wanted to mention while this was up, because I was thinking about that bonding request and potential elements that could be added to these 2 lots to make them more workable for community.
Senator Pappas.
Happened kind of at the last minute, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity to get input on the language. So I think if you do an early modification bill next session to allow the entire capital area to be considered for more trees, because I think we have enough right now in the current budget for the lower mall, but we should be expanding and doing more trees and benches throughout the entire capital area. And you know, I'm fine with that. I'll be gone. So
I know,
I can turn that over to you to do.
I can work with you over the interim, so thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
You're not off the hook quite yet, Senator Pappas, so thank you.
Still all in for the next 6 months.
I love it, I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I should mention that as a note related to that, we are developing sort of in the behind us of high-level cost estimates for both the construction and the maintenance of the site to provide some scoping and details for implementation planning.
And thank you for allowing the interruption.
Of course. Are there any other questions about the design? No? Please proceed. Keep going. Next slide. Just noting here, this slide just calls out some different programmable spaces. I think one question came up is what kind of activities could be held here? What kind of things could be special events or gatherings or other activities? This is kind of scoping out what is the capacity and sort of the functionality of the site, just to give people a sense of how that could work in the future and how that would be added to the library of spaces that are already available in the capital area. Next slide. And likewise, here's an initial thought about where some of the amenities are in the area. Again, because of the connection to the right-of-way project, the right reconstruction, Mobility amenities are prioritized here in terms of bike ped and other micromobility elements, but also benches, opportunities for public art and wayfinding, and of course green and green spaces. Many different components here. This is a preliminary layout, of course. It's not construction level design, but to give a sense of how this could work and what could be used in those areas. Also the sense that some of these things could be staged over time. They wouldn't all necessarily need to be there on day one. Next slide. And again, just a few of the general considerations ending here for discussion in terms of the overall integration of these mobility elements and the different components in relation to the construction of the roadway project, the surrounding area, the phasing and timing of when this gets built out. It could be as soon as next year or it could be years afterwards. The construction and maintenance, operations and maintenance of how this will be maintained as part of the larger capital complex programming, and that goes to the level of detail of what could be accomplished here. And of course, the construction phase coordination. With many things under construction in the area, when is the right time for that to happen? So at this point, I think we're pausing for questions or discussion.
Okay. Thank you very much. Questions, comments from board members? Yes, Ms. Humphrey.
I just wanted to say I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into these designs. I think when Leif Erikson Park was effectively taken out, the neighborhood was really excited to hear about those two other spaces that were going to be utilized in place of the park. We haven't been able to see much activation of those areas, and so being able to put some good thought into how we can, and as soon as possible, activate those spaces for not only the residents, but the capital workers that are coming in, as well as all of the visitors that hopefully are enjoying this wonderful part of our world.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments? Mr. Greenberg.
I want to acknowledge the effort of the staff and advisors to help work with the consultants to develop these designs. It's been a very thoughtful and thorough process.
Okay. Well, I think we can proceed here with the resolution. I think you can go to the next slide. Yep. Please go ahead and just walk us briefly through the resolution, Mr. Musty.
Yes, certainly. The slide contains a summary of the resolution, approving the direction of the designs and authorization to move forward. It provides some additional guidance, really just sort of recording the work that we've been doing with you and then authorizing that work continue. So it says to say that this design direction that we are headed, it does authorize us to continue working on that. It doesn't approve the design because it's not a final design. We are still in a schematic phase, even before we move into projects that would be implemented of any kind on either site. So we're still at a point where we're agreeing on direction at this point. The other additional things, talking really about the first 2 points being that this is going to be public spaces that serve for more Minnesotans, that this is part of our framework of providing spaces for Minnesotans. That includes locally. The second is that there are available for community use. Right? That is a theme that's actually already in place on the mall and the Capitol campus and the building itself. It is a principle of the restoration that these are open for everyone to use through the permitting of Department Administration. So we are calling that out as a possibility, and so we're designing for that. And that's really our job, is to design some of these or conceive and allow, in terms of land use, the settings. The other is to say that Department of Administration really maintains for these spaces administration of permitting, maintenance and operations. That into this year we will proceed with design coordination with a lot of jurisdictions working with us. And that in 2027 we would look at some level of projects along with the Rice Street project, so that we are hopefully doing more of the construction all at once, or as much as we can, and not extend this for years. So it's simply saying that there's a hope that we can do this next year. And then the last is that funding really will be a collaboration of different sources.
Great, thank you so much for walking us through that. I would ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
It's been moved, is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Just wanted to briefly acknowledge all the good work that went into this. Thank you so much. Okay, great, excellent. Thanks for much for here. Wonderful. So there's a motion before us. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Excellent. The resolution passes. Thank you so much. Okay, the next piece here is we are going to do other projects and legislative updates.
Yes.
Correct? Excellent.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks. All right, thanks everyone. Good to see you all. We're getting near the end of this long meeting. Eric Seeley-Dahl, Executive Secretary. So I'm going to talk to you about other project updates, that there's a memo in your board packet, as well as legislative updates. And then we're going to move to the rules item because that's an item that we need to get action on today. And then we'll finish the meeting with the vitality update, which is all about this place here and all the work we've been doing here. And we really want to make sure if you have any questions or want any comments, or to just acknowledge all the folks that have been working really hard at this space to do the good work they've been doing in the community. So I'm going to give other projects updates. And mostly talk first about legislative updates. So if you could go to the next slide. During this legislative session, several items were passed through the legislature that impact CAAPB board. You've already heard of one of them that Representative Cleaborn brought up earlier, but I'll talk about a couple few, and if you have any questions or if anyone else wants to provide more clarifying information, happy to do that. But the first one is a bill that passed Melissa and Mark Hortman Memorial State Park Working Group. And so the legislature directed CAAPB board, as well as many other members that are on the next slide, to put together a working group to determine a temporary working group that starts in July 15th of this year, needs to be done by next year, February, and develop a report that looks at should there be a state park in the capital area, Capital Mall or capital area wide, that involves both the Department of Administration, CAAPB board, the City of St. Paul, the DNR, Minnesota Historical Society. But so we're going to have monthly meetings managed by the Legislative Coordinating Commission to discuss these items. So we're going to develop recommendations related. Oh, hand up. Sorry, Senator Pappas. Go ahead.
Wondering who are the members from the Senate? Is that Senator Hoffman? Is there just one? Has it been appointed already?
We could go to the next slide, Senator Pappas. So
okay,
I haven't received information yet as to who's appointed, but I know that it's legislative leaders from the House and Senate committees overseeing administration and natural resources. And so then I think it's a determination of the House and the Senate of who will fill those roles.
Okay.
And then these are the other members that will be on the working group that's led by the Legislative Coordinating Commission, Governor's Office appointee, Minnesota Department of Administration, Department of Natural Resources, CAAPB board will have an appointee, Minnesota Historical Society, City of St. Paul, and as I mentioned, the legislative leaders from the House and Senate committees with oversight. And then we have, again, funding, a one-time funding of $86,000 from the general fund for the Legislative Coordinating Commission to support the administrative and operational costs of the working group. And I think from CAAPB board's perspective, I think we will bring forward the Capital Mall design framework that we put a lot of effort into, as well as our comprehensive plan, and talk about opportunities to activate the mall and be more welcoming, similar to what we see at state parks with the folks that wear the hats, the rangers, sorry. So that'll be an interesting discussion, and we need to put together a report with recommendations that were on the previous slide. Jesse, you wanna go back, sure. Looking at governance, oversight, CAP board oversees this area with partnership with Department of Administration as well as legislature, governor's office, city of St. Paul. And so there's already a great structure here, but I think this is something that Speaker Hortman was interested in us considering and having conversations on, so I look forward to those conversations. If anyone has any questions on that, I know I'm talking kind of quick because I'm trying to get us to the next item too.
Just a quick comment. I think this reinforces the wayfinding, to have people out there that actually can help tell the stories and guide people. So I think that's really helpful.
Goes without saying that this is some of the most important work that is before the CAP board. I just wanted to name that, so
Thank you, Madam Chair. This also does relate to an item that's on our other updates memo, which talks about an RFP that CAP board is recently signing to do work on looking at all the commemorative works in the Capitol Mall and developing some tours that relate to the commemorative works on the Capitol Mall that are specifically targeted at 6th graders, Minnesotan kids that learn about all our history, and we would love them to know more about the Capitol Mall and the commemorative works, as well as looking at all the commemorative works and the history of each of those, who made them, all of that. And we'll likely want to talk to former Executive Secretary Paul Mandel about that.
excellent. Representative Schultz, I see your hand is raised. Go right ahead.
Yep, just to piggyback off of this, obviously glad that there will be a broad coalition of folks involved in this conversation. I will say, and I'll state it just so that folks are aware, there are concerns about this in my caucus, and something that certainly will need additional deliberation. But I just wanted everybody to know that ahead of time so that you're aware of it.
I appreciate you identifying that. We want to be as thoughtful as possible, and we'll also look to you, Representative Schultz, as we're navigating through this for your guidance here as well. Thank you. Mr. McLean.
Just a quick question, I'm curious if you know, are there other state capitals that have state parks incorporated into the mall, or do you know?
Madam Chair, Board Member McLean, I'm not aware of State Park Capitol Mall. I think there are state parks nearby capitals, from what I've learned, but not what anything that I've seen thus far.
Gotcha, thanks.
All right, so then the next item, if you go to the next page, so another item that passed, that was just mentioned by Senator Pappas and Representative Cleaborn, was capital area trees. So this provides $800,000 for tree planting projects within the capital area to support the implementation of the Capitol Mall Design Framework. It sounds like we'll be having future conversations about that. And our real goal here is to enhance urban canopy, sustainability, visitor experience, welcomingness, comfort on the mall. And so we look forward to talking with board members as well as our partners, Department of Administration, on how we do that. And I think that'll be great. So thank the legislature for that. The next item we have here.
Ms. Anderson,
oh,
just
sorry,
real
I'm going
quickly.
so quick.
Tennessee State Capitol has a bicentennial state park that goes, is a
thank
mall
you.
that goes down from their state capitol, down to farmer's market, that's a ways down, but that I just Googled it to be sure, but their Capitol Mall is a state park.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So then the next item that the legislature approved this year was a Capital Area Economic Development Grant Program that later in the meeting I'll talk about related to vitality, but if you recall in 2023 the legislature asked us to have a task force, and then in 2025 they funded money to the Port Authority of $1 million to do grant making to businesses in the capital area, and in this legislative session an additional $630,000 was added to the Capital Area Economic Development Grant Program that will be administered by the St. Paul Port Authority, and Michael Solomon from the Port Authority is here if there's any questions related to the grant program when I talk about it later. We're still working through what does this additional $630,000 mean, but looks like it's another way to continue to enhance the vitality of this area. So we're really grateful for that. And then the next slide, thank you, is the final legislative item was the Melissa Hortman Memorial, and so this bill directs $800,000 from the existing capital mall design framework, implementation funding to design, procure, and install a memorial to tribute to Melissa Hortman as part of a memorial garden on the state office building site. So it assigns the CAP board to take responsibility for selecting an artist through a competitive process and requires approval from Speaker Hortman's immediate family throughout the selection and design process, and the memorial must include likeness of Speaker Hortman and her deceased family members. So we're developing a process that we'll be bringing back to the board at a future date on how we move this forward, and really honored to be part of this. And I think CAP board's we have all the expertise here, as well as our advisors and the experience in adding commemorative works to the mall, and so this will be a great honor for the whole board, and I'm really, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Executive Secretary. I just want to state for the public, this ground at the SOB is already in a state of disrepair, and part of this work is also work that was already planned for the incorporation of the landscape design. So it's not an additional, but also an incorporation, so that everyone can understand that piece as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Cleaborn. And I think with how the legislation was written, we will not need to go through our site selection process and some of our process, but we will do as much process that is important for transparency for the public, and to also have the sensitivity with the family and the legislature related to that. So look forward, and we will be getting back to you on that. But those are the current legislative updates on that. And does anyone have any questions on that so far, or any other comments?
Thank you so much for that update.
Thank you. And so then, as I mentioned, next we were going to talk about the capital vitality. We're going to put that at the end here because we're getting close, and that one we don't need an action item on, but we do need an action item on the next item after it, which is the rulemaking. So I'm going to have Jesse spin through that, but I do really hope we can get to the vitality, because Inspector McDonald's here to talk, and we've got a lot to tell you about, because a lot of great things have been happening in this space here at Capitol Commons, and we're really grateful that you can all be here today. So if you want to just go, well, I don't know what happened. Well, so we will get to the rules. Here we go. Oh, there we go, getting close. There's some pictures of stuff we've been doing. Okay, so this next item, if I may, Madam Chair.
Please proceed.
Moving through it quickly here, is item 14, zoning and design rulemaking update. And Principal Planner Peter Musty and I will be co-presenting this, but I'll mostly be talking. He's here for if you have any questions that I can't answer technically, as well as Cecilia Kim from Opticos is virtual, and she was a consultant that helped us lead the rulemaking development of the rules, which are in your packet, and if you want a copy, we can grab you one at the front desk. So going to the next item, or next slide. Yeah, great, that's perfect. Okay, so we last presented this rulemaking to the board back in June 2025. The board asked us to go back and work with stakeholders and partners to develop the best set of rules that served all parties, and bring the rules back to the board to move into the Administrative Procedures Act process, or the APA process, which is a state process. We went and did that, and we worked with partners and developed compromises and better outcomes for the capital area related to zoning and design rulemaking. I'm going to walk through the project context, scope, and timeline process and our approach, and then notable changes since the board meeting last June. And what we are asking the board to do today is to move into rulemaking into the public APA, or Administrative Procedures Act process. This is not a rule approval by the board today. It is taking these draft rules and putting them on notice that we would like to change our rules, showing those changes to the public, and asking them to give us comments and feedback on those. Again, the board's not approving final rules today. It's being asked to move it into the Administrative Procedures Act process, and then after the APA process completes, CAP board staff will be back before the board to present the comments, the judge's finding, and the board will make a determination at that time what rules move forward at that time, which would then be the final rules. And likely this process will take a year from right now, if we move this forward today. Okay, that's a lot. Go ahead to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so a little project context. In 2023, the legislature set aside funds to do zoning and rulemaking because our rules had not been updated since the last comprehensive plan. This rulemaking was an opportunity to bring zoning and design rules in line with the comprehensive plan from 2020 and modernize our zoning and design rules, as well as a housekeeping effort. And really talk to partners and find out how should we update our zoning and design rules. So, as you can see, it's the capital area. Our zoning and design rules are within Minnesota Rules 2400, and then we do, even the legislature gave us the funds, but we do have the statutory authority to update our rules, and that's displayed on the screen here. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to be moving into the Administrative Procedures Act, which is Minnesota Statutes Chapter 14 and Minnesota Rules Chapter 1400. And this process is a lengthy process, as you can see from the graphic on the screen here, that has many opportunities for the public to give comment, as well as opportunities for the governor's office to weigh in, the board to weigh in, even the legislature to weigh in. And what I'm asking you to do today is to get us to that where we were at request for comments. We did that back in 2020, January 13th and February 13th, 2025. And then we, since then, have been continuing to develop our rules and our SONAR, the Statement of Need and Reasonableness, along with Cecilia. And now, today, we're basically asking you to give us a board action to let us move into the next steps of governor's office review and then notice of intent to adopt. And that notice of intent to adopt, we publish the rules in the state register. We say, public, what do you think about these? We give them 60 days. We have to give them at least 30 days. We can give them longer if we'd like. We can do multiple times and see what's happening. We can even receive a request for a public hearing. We'll have to wait and see what the public wants to do, but we'll be contacting everyone within CAAPB area because it's a pretty small area, and it also goes statewide because of the state register, so anyone can actually comment on this. And then it'll go into the ALJ review, unless there are things that happen in the public comment period that we need to bring back to the board and have a conversation with you about because of how the public responded. And then it could, as you can see, stand up here, it kind of can go in this circle for a while here if there's comments that we need to address, and then, but hopefully it moves through the public comment period and heads to the ALJ, which is the administrative law judge, and they review all of the comments and all of CAP board staff's responses to the comments, and then they issue a report, and then I bring that back to the board here and explain, here's what we heard, here's what the ALJ thinks. The ALJ, can tell us about every single rule change that we're making. Is it legal? Is it reasonable? Is it necessary? That's what that statement of need and reasonableness requires, the SONAR. And so then, if the board says, yep, that's good, there's then still the opportunity for the governor's office to veto, and then that's 15 days, I believe, and then there can be a notice of adoption. But all of that takes a while, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that that's what I'm asking you to do today, is to move into that process. Okay, next slide. So this has been our timeline so far. The reason we're moving this today is because the funds expire on June 30th, 2027, unless the legislature gives us more time, but we would like to move them forward. These are pretty straightforward rule updates and some good housekeeping. We've already had all of this regulatory review. Opticos and Cecilia came here for a documentation trip. We've had a lot of conversations with partners and stakeholders. Go ahead, next slide. So what's changed since the last time we were here? This is just, if I have the page numbers in your packet on the slide, if you want to go into them. I'm going to go through them quickly again as I'm trying to make sure that we're all efficient here. But if you have any questions on any of these specifically, please do stop me, or we can do it at the end. Also up at the table over here and in your board packet was an MOU that was signed with CAP Board and Department of Administration, because a lot of the rules that we are working to collaborate on, we came to some great agreement that benefits both parties, and I think is a good step. So the first changes that kind of change based on stakeholder input. The first one is congregate living language, and so we were looking at updating our congregate living language. We are working with the city of St. Paul on that, and we are also talking to the neighborhood about that. After more conversations with the city, they have not moved their congregate living rules forward yet, and they have more expertise than CAP Board has, and so we decided we're just not going to change our congregate living rules at this time. We're going to revert to our existing rules and wait till the city updates theirs, and then have conversations with them at a future time for potential future rulemaking. So that one, it's actually just no change. The second item is stormwater. And so the stormwater standards, we had added stormwater regulations related to the Capitol Mall, and we worked with the Department of Administration. We had removed an exemption they had, but after more conversations, we changed the rule language in the rule there to require the Department of Administration to use best management practices, as well as consult with the City of St. Paul and consult with the Capital Region Watershed District, which makes a lot of sense. The Department of Administration already wants to do high quality work related to stormwater, but it gives them the flexibility as they're doing capital projects on the Capitol Mall. And that's all outlined in the MOU. So that's the change there. Projects on public lands, which is on page 415, was essentially, CAP Board wanted to do a belts and suspenders approach to the rules. The projects on public lands basically restated what's required in our statutory language on when you do projects on public lands, what you need to do and who you need to consult with. And so the statute already trumps the rule, so there wasn't a need to actually have that rule language in there, so we decided to pull that rule language. But we worked with Department of Administration, and we will be meeting with them annually on talking about future projects and coordination and rules. Historic preservation, that one is mostly similar, and any projects that happen within the capital area need to go through, check with the zoning administrator, consult with SHPO, but we're working with admin to make sure that we just do coordination as two agencies together instead of requiring them to specifically check with the zoning administrator, since they already work with SHPO and SHPO is in-house there at admin. So again, that's all part of the MOU, and we feel like we landed in a good collaborative place there. The Capital Rice District Overlay talks about how it allows certain, so the capital, I know this is a lot of details, folks, and I appreciate everybody's patience here. Capital Rice District Overlay, we just want to make sure you know about everything, is talking about, so in the Capital Rice District Overlay, that's like including the Sears site and including some of the Rice and University that you just heard about with the Commons area that Peter was talking about. And there was a requirement in there that we had to have mixed use activation on the ground floor. And that is a challenge for developing state bonded properties. And so we said we would like activation there, but we don't require mixed use activation because that would be private entities on the ground floor. And so it still promotes the activation that CAP Board's comp plan wants to see, but it doesn't require that private entity to be in the ground floor of a state-owned property. And then the certificate of design compliance, we just worked through some, basically simplified and clarified so that the process is faster and easier for parties involved in that. Okay, and then new language to standards. These are pretty short. Standards for mixed-use commercial residential uses. This is put together to clearly distinguish between home occupation uses and live-work unit uses, additional standards on limitations on live-work unit uses, operation requirements, changes of use procedures and floor area requirements are also proposed to ensure safety and compatibility with adjacent residential activities. So if you're going to have a business in your house, what are the rules related to that? We think it's an important addition there. And then the last one is adjustments, new standards are proposed to provide a process to allow minor deviations from certain standards under specific situations that may arise from existing site conditions. these standards provide relief for projects that are not able to comply with certain standards due to constraints imposed by existing conditions. So more flexibility within our rules. So those are the main changes that we made since we last came to you for the board, and I'm here if you have any questions, as well as Cecilia and Peter are here if we would like to discuss any specifics in the rules. We didn't want to belabor it. The last time when we came to you, we went through every single rule, and this time we wanted to just highlight what's changed. And I do hope we can move into the resolution if you go to the next page, which is, again, we're not approving the rules today. We're saying we'd like to release them to the public to start getting public comment. So staff would draft a notice of intent to adopt, and then we would have a public comment period. We'd publish it in the state register. We would try and publish it on our website via Gov Delivery. We'd try to get information out as much as we possibly can. Then we would submit the draft rules and sonar to the Office of Administrative Hearings for the APA process, and then we would, depending on the comments, we would revise the rules and sonar based on what the judge and the comments have to say, and then we would bring it all back to the board for final review. I jumped right to giving you an overview of the resolution, but I'm trying to
Absolutely.
get it on time here.
Thank you so much for walking us through all of those pieces. I would entertain, first, any questions for the Executive Secretary?
Not a question, but just wanting to note with appreciation, the thank you, the coordination with the city, right? It being cap area in the city, the more we coordinate, the more there's consistency across all the jurisdictions, the better it is. So I just wanted to note my appreciation for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
Mr. McLean and then
Just
Representative.
quick question, because we talked earlier about the solar, the conditional use permit. Do we need to go through like this extensive process to make a change like that in the future? Or like, can we make smaller little adjustments without like going through ALJ and all that?
So, Madam Chair, Board Member McLean, because if you're in a city, it would be a different process, but because we're a state board, we have to go through state rules to update our, essentially ordinances zoning code. So we would need to do that for solar, and I actually texted Cecilia while we were in the meeting that we need to look at that before we publish these rules of what kind of flexibility we have there on residential solar. And I don't know, Cecilia, if you found any information on that. Looks like no. So we did not look at that in these rules at this point, but we can look at that. And we could actually even amend the resolution to look at that before we publish the rules if you would like to do that.
I think that's important to do today, seeing that, yes.
Good.
Representative Cleburne.
Thank you, I found my answer in the documentation. We're good.
Wonderful, thank you. Excellent. Okay, so before us, there's a resolution. And we would like to include the language, any of my experts in the room with regards to how we best amend this. We'll propose the resolution, and then someone would offer an amendment after we move in second. Is that correct? Excellent, thank you. Okay, would someone be willing to move the zoning and design rulemaking resolution?
Make a motion to approve the advance of the rulemaking process.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. Any amendments?
I don't think I can make amendments.
Yes.
You have to make an amendment.
I move we amend this in a way that we can at least consider the removal of the requirement for a conditional use permit for solar panels.
Residential.
Thank you.
Okay.
Then
Excellent. So there's a resolution before us that has been amended. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to do a roll call of this because this is the rulemaking process. Excellent. Here we go. Ms. Anderson.
Aye.
Dr. Bean.
Aye.
Michael Bjornberg.
Aye.
Hannah Hills.
Aye.
James McLean. James Garrett.
Aye.
Melanie McMahon.
Aye.
Representative Cleburne.
Aye.
Representative Schultz.
Aye.
Senator Nelson. Oh, she left, okay. Senator Pappas.
Aye.
And I, as chair, vote in favor of the rulemaking. So thank you so much, everyone. Executive Secretary, you did it.
Yes, we did, thank you.
And I am going to, with the just prerogative of the chair, I think the community vitality update is significant enough that I think we need to move it to our next meeting. I understand that many people are prepared. Thank you for your preparation. That just means you will be ready to go at our next meeting. I anticipate we will have a handful of additional meetings before we wrap at the end of the year, handing off the work of the CAP board to a new chair, but want to be conscious of time today. I'm so grateful for folks just digging in. This was a very hefty meeting, and our additional meetings before the end of the year will be potentially less hefty and maybe not as long. But I do want to allow for the community vitality to truly get its day in the sun, because I think it's important. Yeah, Executive Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to offer for any board members after this board meeting, if you'd like us to give you a tour, and we could kind of talk to you about the vitality, since we're not going to get a chance to today. We've got a great upstairs, and we've got artwork right behind the Lieutenant Governor. The St. Paul City School did that artwork right there, and we've got a lot of great activities that are happening in Vitality, and Inspector McDonald, who's standing right there wanting to present, has done an amazing job here. I just want to acknowledge that, and I appreciate that we'll get to update you at a future date.
Absolutely, Inspector, we are so grateful for you, and your name comes up all the time. You're doing really good work, so I appreciate you, and Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. Okay, before we wrap, any comments, snide remarks from any of our top board members? Yes, Representative Cleveland. I hope you have a snide remark.
So, Madam Chair, you and I have worked together for many years.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for your dedication, your service, and your work, not only to our state, but to this board. I hope that we will continue to work together for many more years. But I just can't let this meeting close without thanking you for your excellent service to the state of Minnesota and the capacities you have previously served in.
Thank you.
And currently serve in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. And has been taking time just to sort of reflect on the last many years. The role here is one of the things that physically, right, we can literally see, right, the good work in real time. And so just so grateful for this team and for everyone in this space. For everything you do. And as a reminder for why we do this work and why we do this well, absolutely. Well, with that, if there's no additional questions, comments, or snide remarks, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That was, you did great.
A lot.
That was a lot.